UK economy, migration, AI, and government revenue. Introduction. Welcome to this discussion on three interconnected challenges facing the UK economy: post-Brexit migration, the rise of artificial intelligence, and the future of government revenue. This transcript presents fact-checked analysis based on data from HMRC, the Office for National Statistics, the Migration Advisory Committee, and leading academic research. Post-Brexit migration. The Boris wave. Following Brexit, the UK introduced a points-based immigration system under Boris Johnson's government. This led to a significant surge in legal migration, with net migration peaking at approximately 900,000 in the 12 months to June 2023. From December 2020 to the end of 2024, there were around 1.18 million skilled worker visa applications. Of those, approximately 630,000 were dependents of main applicants. This was nearly 3 times higher than the government initially projected. The largest group of skilled worker visa recipients were in the health and care sector. Care workers, nurses, senior care workers, and doctors made up over 60% of grants by 2023. Indian citizens became the largest recipient group by nationality. It is important to note that these figures cover all skilled worker visa applications, not just low-wage roles. The route also includes IT professionals, engineers, and other high-earning occupations. Can skilled worker visa holders claim benefits? Under UK immigration rules, most people on a skilled worker visa are subject to a condition known as no recourse to public funds, or NRPF. As of the end of 2024, approximately 3.6 million people in the UK held visas with this condition. This means they cannot claim most state welfare benefits, including universal credit, housing benefit, child benefit, income support, and council tax reduction. They also cannot access social housing or homelessness assistance. They can, however, use NHS services, having paid the immigration health surcharge, and their children can access state education. They are also entitled to statutory sick pay, statutory maternity and paternity pay, and some national insurance-linked benefits. Claiming public funds while subject to NRPF is a breach of immigration conditions and can result in visa cancellation or removal from the UK. What happens after settlement? After 5 years on a skilled worker visa, individuals can apply for indefinite leave to remain, also known as settlement. Once granted, the NRPF restriction is removed, and they can access means-tested benefits under the same rules as British citizens. This means eligibility for universal credit, child benefit, housing benefit, and other forms of support, but only if they meet the same income and savings thresholds that apply to everyone. There is a legitimate concern that if settled migrants remain on low incomes with large households, they could qualify for significant in-work benefit top-ups. However, it is important to note that this situation is not unique to migrants. British-born households with single low earners and large families face exactly the same fiscal dynamic. Data from the Office for National Statistics and Migration Advisory Committee generally shows that work visa migrants have high employment rates and that many increase their earnings over time. There is no strong evidence that skilled worker migrants systematically become disproportionate long-term welfare users after settlement, compared to the UK-born population in similar income brackets. In response to these concerns, the UK government raised the minimum salary threshold for skilled worker visas to £38,700 in April 2024, up from £26,200, and introduced restrictions on dependents for care worker and student visa routes. Net migration has since fallen significantly. Why not replace migrants with unemployed British workers? A frequently raised question is, if there are unemployed British citizens, why bring in migrant workers at all? The answer lies in 3 structural mismatches in the labour market. First, skills mismatch. The UK had approximately 70,000 nurse vacancies and severe NHS staffing shortages. An unemployed office worker cannot become a qualified nurse or structural engineer without years of training. Second, geographic mismatch. Unemployment is concentrated in certain regions, while job vacancies are concentrated in others. People do not easily relocate due to housing costs, family ties, and transport limitations. Third, wage mismatch. Some sectors, particularly social care and hospitality, rely on migrant labor because the jobs are low-paid, physically demanding, and involve unsociable hours. Raising wages enough to attract domestic workers would increase care costs, food prices, and construction costs, contributing to inflation. It is also worth noting that migrants create economic demand themselves. They rent homes, buy goods, and pay taxes. So the relationship is not simply one of displacement. AI and the UK economy. Artificial intelligence is now having a measurable impact on the UK labour market. Research from King's College London found that high-paying firms experienced employment declines of approximately 10% following the widespread adoption of large language models. Job postings in high-salary occupations fell by 34%. A junior and entry-level positions were hit hardest, with a 5.8% reduction. The sectors most affected include professional services, finance, information technology, and communications, traditionally high-income domains. Software development, data analysis, legal document review, accounting, and marketing content creation are all increasingly automatable. Conversely, physical and manual jobs, care work, plumbing, electrical work, construction, and in-person services remain significantly harder for AI to replace. These roles require physical presence, human dexterity, adaptability, and interpersonal skills that current AI cannot replicate. However, the claim that AI will completely replace all high-income professional jobs is an exaggeration. Senior roles, creative positions, and AI-augmented professional work remain in strong demand. The UK government projects that jobs directly involving AI activities could rise from 158,000 in 2024 to nearly 4 million by 2035. AI and government revenue. The UK government's largest revenue source is wage-based taxation. In the 2024 to 2025 tax year, income tax generated £302.8 billion and national insurance contributions generated £172.5 billion, a combined £475.3 billion, representing approximately 55% of all HMRC receipts. Total HMRC revenue was £858.9 billion. If AI significantly reduces the number of people in paid employment, particularly in high-income roles where tax contributions are proportionally larger, this could create a serious fiscal challenge. Losing one job paying £100,000 per year costs the Treasury roughly the same in tax revenue as losing 5 jobs paying £20,000 each. However, AI can also increase government revenue if it raises productivity, boosts corporate profits, enables new industries, and generates exports. Corporation tax raised £91.2 billion in 2024 to 2025. If AI-driven firms become more profitable, this figure could grow. The critical question is whether AI increases total economic output faster than it reduces the wage-based tax base. Historical evidence from previous technological revolutions, steam, electricity, computing, suggests that technology ultimately increases national wealth, but the transition period can be painful and unequal. Could AI shift income distribution? There is a theoretical argument that AI could eventually invert traditional income hierarchies, that knowledge-based jobs currently commanding high salaries could see wage compression as AI automates their core functions, while physical jobs that resist automation could see wages rise due to scarcity. This is a plausible long-term trend, but it has not yet materialized in the data. As of 2025, software engineers still earn significantly more than plumbers, and doctors still earn more than care workers. Wage adjustments of this nature would occur gradually over decades, not overnight. What the data does show is that the wage premium for traditional knowledge work is beginning to erode at the entry level, while demand and pay for skilled trades remain robust. AI and entrepreneurship. AI significantly lowers the barrier to starting a business. Tools powered by artificial intelligence allow individuals to build websites, generate marketing content, write code, analyze data, and manage customer interactions, tasks that previously required teams of employees. This could increase entrepreneurship, self-employment, and digital exports, potentially boosting government revenue through corporation tax and VAT. However, there is an important caveat. If AI enables one person to do the work of 10, total employment per firm falls. Even if more businesses are created, overall job numbers may not rise proportionally. The tax base could shift from broad-based pay employment toward a smaller number of highly productive individuals and firms, concentrating wealth and potentially reducing the diversity of the tax base. Alternative revenue sources. If wage-based taxation declines, the government has several alternative revenue options. Corporation tax on AI-driven firms. Currently £91.2 billion, but this cannot realistically replace £475.3 billion from income tax and national insurance. Capital gains and wealth taxes. Currently £13.7 billion. Politically sensitive and difficult to scale dramatically. Value-added tax. Currently £171 billion. But VAT is regressive. It takes a higher proportion of income from lower earners. Digital services taxes. The UK currently levies a 2% tax on revenues of large digital companies, but this is narrow in scope. Automation or robot taxes. These remain an academic discussion. There is no active UK legislation or serious government proposal for a robot tax as of early 2026. Each alternative has significant limitations in scale, enforceability, or political feasibility. This is why residents continue to bear much of the tax burden. Wage-based taxation remains the most reliable and enforceable revenue mechanism. Welfare policy in an AI economy. One response to fiscal pressure is to cut the welfare system. However, most economists caution against this approach during a period of economic transition. Cutting benefits during a time when AI is displacing workers could increase poverty, reduce consumer spending, worsen mental health outcomes, and create social instability, all of which have their own economic costs. More widely supported policy approaches include adapting the tax system to capture AI-generated value, investing heavily in retraining and skills programs, reforming education to prioritize capabilities that AI cannot replicate, such as creativity, interpersonal skills, and physical dexterity, and exploring models like universal basic income as long-term safety nets. The goal is not simply to reduce spending, but to ensure the tax and welfare system evolves alongside the economy. Conclusion. The UK faces three interconnected challenges: managing the fiscal and social impact of post-Brexit migration, adapting to AI-driven transformation of the labour market, and maintaining government revenue as the traditional wage-based tax model comes under pressure. None of these challenges has a simple solution. Migration is driven by structural labour shortages that unemployed British workers cannot immediately fill. AI is reshaping which skills are valuable, potentially benefiting physical trades while compressing wages in knowledge work. And government revenue depends on policy choices about how to tax an increasingly automated economy. What is clear is that the UK needs adaptive policy, not rigid ideology, to navigate these shifts successfully. The facts support nuanced, evidence-based approaches over simplified narratives. Thank you for listening. Sources: HMRC Annual Tax Receipts 2024 to 2025. Office for National Statistics. Migration Advisory Committee. UK Parliament Public Accounts Committee. King's College London AI Labour Market Study. PwC 2025 Global AI Jobs Barometer. UK Government AI Skills Projections.